Hello students. So in this video we are going to study about how to isolate and identify organisms from a nasal or a throat swab to identify pathogens which cause infections of the upper respiratory tract. So for this purpose I have three samples with me which are coming from three different individuals, and they have been numbered as sample 1, sample 2 and sample 3. So you can see that the swabs which were collected, they have been put into sterile saline and a suspension of the same have been made, and they have been numbered as sample 1, sample 2 and sample 3. Now, as per the discussion that we have already had about how to isolate organisms and which are the primary isolation media that you should make use of for studying the pathogens of the upper respiratory tract, we had listed out three medias and we have justified them as well. So the first one is sterile nutrient agar, you have sterile superimposed blood agar, and you have sterile McConkey's agar. Right now, due to the current situations, we have not been able to procure blood, because of which we are not able to do it on SIBA, though we will show you some of the representative images for the same. But we do have the rest two media with us, which is nutrient agar and the another one is McConkey's agar. So we will do the isolation on these two plates, and please remember that this is a completely practice-based approach that we are trying to give you through these videos, so that you know that the organisms that we have which can cause upper respiratory tract infections, how do they appear on these different primary isolation media, and how do you identify them using different rapid tests and biochemical tests. So let us start with the isolation of these three samples on nutrient agar and McConkey's agar. Okay, so for that we will first label the plates. So we are going to use T-streak method for isolating the organisms on these plates. So it's very important to know how to label them. So first and foremost, always remember that whenever you are labeling your plates, very important is the details of the sample, especially the sample code that has been assigned to it, so that you know that the thing that you have isolated on the agar, it's coming from which sample. So that sample code is very essential. Okay, so for example, we have numbered it as sample 1, 2, 3, so we will write it as sample 1. It's very important to also write the date on which you are doing this isolation. Okay, so I will write today's date over it. And other than that, you can also write the initials of the person who is performing this, either as your initials or even as your roll number. Okay. So I am going to put these labels on the media. Now the media is already named over here, so I'm not going to stick anything for identifying which media this is, because anyways you can very easily distinguish between nutrient agar and McConkey's agar. Okay, so see that I have sticked the labels between the space of the lid and the base. Okay, never ever label or stick anything on the lid, because this can be very easily changed, right? So it's always important that your label is on the base and never on the lid. Okay, so please take care of that. So similarly, we will also label the other plate. So I will finish the labeling and then we will quickly start with our isolation process. So my labeling process is done and I'm going to start with the isolation. I'm trying my level best to give you the best possible view of the process. I'll be showing you isolation of one sample, and obviously you have done these T-streak method right from your first year of BSc, so you have an idea of it. So I'll just show the same on one plate, and the same technique will be employed on the other plates for all the samples. Okay, so I have the first sample ready with me, which has been labeled as sample 1. So always remember that before you start the isolation, just gently shake it a little, so that it's a homogeneous mixture that you have with you, okay, before you start with your isolation process. So if there are any cells which have settled at the base, they should mix into your suspension pretty well. Okay, and you have to then start with sterilizing your loop. So sterilize your loop. It should become red hot, post which you can let the loop cool between the two burners, that is in the aseptic zone, for exactly 30 seconds. Post which you can start with your isolation technique. Now to carry out T streak, you can see on the camera that there is a T that I have made on the plate. Okay, you can very clearly see it now that there is a T. So this is the area where I will be inoculating. Okay, and then I am going to make a T out of the culture from there, and then I will start isolating the organisms. And between every step you are going to sterilize your loop so that the density of the culture goes on reducing and you get well isolated colonies. And this is really very important when you are working with any kind of natural samples or even with clinical samples, because there is a huge possibility that there are going to be variety of organisms out there, right? So we want to get as well isolated colony as possible so that we can clearly pick one of them up and then go ahead for our identification process. Okay, so when you sterilize the loop and you are keeping it for cooling, you have to ensure that you're keeping it for adequate time. Otherwise, if you're going to make use of a hot loop, that's going to burn the culture and that's going to be the loss of the sample. Okay, so see to it that you do not use a very hot loop. So 30 seconds is up. We can start with our isolation technique. So I'm going to shake the sample once again and I'm going to pass it through the flame. And now I'm going to dip the loop into the sample. The first thing that I have done is that I have spread the culture in the zone of inoculum, and now I'm sterilizing the loop, and then I'm going to drag it down and make a T and then start with the further isolation. So wait of 30 seconds. 30 seconds is up, so now I'm going to drag it down. I'm going to pick up a little of inoculum from here. And I'm going to make a T first. So I've made the T. I will again sterilize my loop. And I'll wait for the loop to cool for the next 30 seconds. 30 seconds is up. So now I will give my first streak from one corner, touching the upper head of the T such that I am spreading the culture across. Again, you have to sterilize the loop and then wait for it to cool for 30 seconds. Once you're done with that, you will start spreading it from the other corner now, going across diagonally to the other end of the plate. Again, sterilize the loop, wait for 30 seconds. Once you're done with that, you can start from the base now. Give gentle streaks with good distance up between them and come up. Again, you can sterilize your loop and wait for 30 seconds. After 30 seconds, you can start from the top of the plate and you can streak it down. So this is how your plate, which is streaked, is ready to go for incubation. So similarly, I will streak all the plates, and once all the plates are streaked, then we will put the plates for incubation. So I'm done isolating all 3 samples on all the plates, and now we are ready for incubation. So I'm going to put all these plates at 37 degrees Celsius. That's basically because these are samples coming from patients, and we are expecting pathogens which luxuriantly grow at 37 degrees Celsius. So we will put all the plates at 37 degrees Celsius and incubate it for next 24 hours, and after 24 hours we will visualize how the growth looks like. Thank you so much for watching the video.